Hi, welcome back. This is the second tutorial in how to use Krita, and remember, I'm learning this as I go along, so please forgive me if I make a mistake or if I get lost. All right, so we've set up our basic canvas. We've got a white canvas, which is A4. We've got our advanced color selector. We've got our layers, and over here we've got a toolbox. Let me just focus on the toolbox for a minute. I'm just going to zoom in close for you. If you're not sure what tools you're using, if you hover over the top, and let me just see if this works, the name of the tool should appear on your screen. And that's really handy because if you're not sure what tool does what, this is a really easy way of identifying the names of the tools. Just hover your mouse over the top and you can see the name appears. Right, now with the toolbox, there's a few tricks that you might want to do. The first one is, notice when my cursor goes to the edge of the toolbox, it becomes like a four-headed arrow. So once again, let's zoom in and have a look at that. So there it is. Now, when it's a four-headed arrow, you can actually, or two-headed arrow, sorry, you can actually drag and make the toolbox wider. So that's pretty good. Depends on how you want your tools to appear on the screen. 4 columns, 3 columns, 2 columns, or 1. Now, the other thing that I like is that you can actually right-click in this grey area here, and you can change the size of the icon. So if you want the tools to be bigger, you can click on a bigger size. It just depends on, I guess, how you work. So that's pretty good. I like that. I might just make mine the default size, and I'll go back to 2 columns. I don't need it to be that big. All right, now the next thing, of course, is this bar at the top of the screen. So just ignore a lot of these icons. This is the gradient. We'll get into this later on, but not now. Don't worry about patterns either. This is the main focus for color. So the first little square is the foreground color. This one is the background color, and this returns everything back to basic black and white. So if I click on the black and white icon, everything goes back to black and white. You can also toggle between the black and the white, or the foreground color and the background color. If you want to choose a color, you just basically click on the top one, and you have to bring up the light, because that's on black at the moment, make it bright, then choose which color you want. So this is like an ice skating rink. You can go all the way around by pressing and dragging your mouse, and you can stop on the color that you want. And again, you can make it brighter. See that? So let's say you like that really bright red. You click OK, and your foreground color has now become a firebox red. The background color, again, same technique. You can choose a green, click on OK, and now your background color is green and the foreground color is red. And once again, you can switch them around by clicking on the arrow. Now this will make more sense when we start painting, so just leave that alone for now. I would, just let me zoom back a bit. I would ignore this for the time being. This is where you can really set up and customize your brushes. So if you click on that, this huge window appears. And when I first saw this, I thought, well, how do you get rid of it? And I didn't realize until you just click on the outside of the window. So in this area here, where the toolbox is, you just click on the white area of the canvas and it disappears. So I'll try that again, click here, and then click outside, and it disappears. But it is confusing, so maybe leave that alone for now. But this area here is very important. This is where you choose your brush type. So this comes up with all your brush icons, which appear like that. Once again, if you hover over the top, it will tell you what the name of the brush is, or what type of brush that is. So I prefer to change the view of the icons. Now, if you don't really like the icon view or the thumbnail view, you can go to the top right-hand corner. There's a little pop-up there, and you can just change it to details. And that changes it into this view, which I prefer, because then you can actually see the icon, the thumbnail, and you can actually see the name of the brush. And there's lots of different brushes. Now, I'm just looking at the paint brushes. If I press on the word paint, this pop-up menu appears, and you can see there's lots of different brushes you can choose from. There's digital ones, there's different types of erasers, there's special effects. If you want to see all the brushes in Krita, you just click on all. And then guess what? You're scrolling for a long time because there's lots and lots of brushes available to you. So for this first exercise, for this what's a second tutorial, I want you to sort of have a bit of a play with the different types of brushes and see what you get. For instance, let's just make it really simple and just choose paint brushes for now. So choose paint, and let's click on bristles, and then go over here to get rid of that window and start painting. And that's what a bristle brush looks like. Wow, a bit of a tongue twister. I'm just going to close this advanced color selector because it's in my way. So just make a few marks with the bristle brush. I can't say that. And let me just focus now your attention on the next icon in the series. So we're going across this information panel at the top. We come to this icon and it says Set Eraser Mode. So if you click on that, you can actually rub out anything that you've painted. So if you don't like something, you can rub it out and then click it again and go back to brush. So that's pretty good. I like that. This next area, skip those. This next area is opacity. So with opacity, at the moment it's on 100%, so it just comes out solid. Whatever color you've chosen comes out 100% that color. That's what 100% opacity means. If you want a lighter version, you can dial down by pressing and dragging this little blue area. I'm just pressing my mouse over it and dragging down. So now I've come to 50%. We are with 50% opacity. This is what 50% looks like. So if I paint that and then I go over the top of it again, it's see-through. See that? That's 50%. Now if I go lighter than that, it becomes like a watercolor wash. Now when we get into painting for real, this is how you build up your color and this is how you blend as well. It's always recommended if you want to blend color, you bring the opacity down. So that's really interesting, that little area there. And then of course the last area I want to show you is the size. So at the moment it's on 110 pixels. That's what that looks like. Let's bring that back to 100% opacity. All right, so that's 100%. If I make the size bigger, look at that. It's a giant brush. If I make it smaller, it's a small brush. Okay, now something else that you might want to know is how to delete everything. What you do for that is press the delete key on your keyboard if you don't want to erase it, if you don't want to rub it out. So I just press the delete key and it's all gone. It's actually gone to the color green, which is my background color. If I don't want that, I can actually change that to another color. For instance, I can change it to white. Let me just cancel that. Oh, what have I done? I've actually stuffed that up. Oh geez, let me just go back. Command Z on my keyboard will undo that mistake. Oof, I've stuffed up then. I've got to find out how to get rid of the paintwork without going back to the background color because I don't want green. All right, so let me just try Command Z on my keyboard or Control Z if you're using a PC. And look at that, it will undo my last move. So that's another way of undoing your paintwork. Let me investigate the delete key a little bit later on because I'm not sure what happened there. So going back to painting, I've got a nice thin bristle brush. And again, I can make it bigger. And now let's just do a blob. This is just a blob. I'm just experimenting. And I want to show you now how to navigate your canvas. So watch this. On my keyboard, I'm going to press Command minus. So I'm going to hold the Command key down and tap on the minus key. On a PC, you would hold down the Control key. So it's Control minus on a PC, Command minus on a Mac. Now, Command minus zooms out, Command plus zooms in. And you're thinking, that's pretty good, but watch this. You can actually hold down the space bar and you can move the canvas around. If you hold down the space bar, you get this little grabber hand. So if you go Command plus and you go so close you can't see what you're doing, hold down the space bar and you can move things around. So that's pretty important to know. If you want to go back, Command minus or Control minus takes you back. Now there is another shortcut. which involves zooming in and out. And that is, hold down your space bar. That's your grabber hand. See the little grabber hand that comes up? And then at the same time, hold down the command key or the control key on a PC. Now, spacebar and command will give you a magnifying glass, and then if you press your mouse down, you can actually drag to zoom in and drag to zoom out. You might actually find that a lot easier. What I like about the spacebar and the command trick is that you can target an area to zoom in. For instance, if I paint a little red dot here and I go Command plus, Krita just takes me to the center of the canvas. It doesn't know that I want to zoom into that little red dot. So by using the spacebar and the command key, I can actually zoom in to that little red dot. See how I did that? I can zoom over here and I can zoom back to there. So there's a lot of control with spacebar and command. Now that's not all. If you hold down the spacebar and the shift key, you get this little icon, circular arrows. And what that means is you can rotate the canvas. Wow, fantastic. I actually like this feature. Let's just say you rotate it and you can't get back to normal. You just tap on the letter 5 on your keyboard and it corrects everything back to normal. So once again, you paint with your brush. You then hold the spacebar and the command key, or on a PC, it'll be spacebar and control key, and then just practice pressing and dragging on the canvas to zoom in and out. And also zoom in and then hold down the spacebar by itself and practice just moving the window or the canvas all around like I'm doing now. I'm going to leave the second tutorial at that. Have a bit of a muck around, have a bit of a practice, and then we'll move on to our third video tutorial. Okay?